Welcome to your nightly newscast, The Special Focus. I'm Maria.
I'm Tori.
And I'm Elisa.
For today's segment, we will be covering the different experiences, concerns, and tensions of Africans and Native Americans in colonial America.
But first, let's break to Isha with our weather report.
Hi Tori, I'm here in New England where strong winds are blowing in from the west. Our meteorologists have predicted this winter to be even more brutal than usual, which could be a big problem for subsistence farming.
Now, let's talk about what that means for the North.
Colder weather in the New England colonies makes for a smaller and more diversified slave trade economy in the area, mainly because farms are generally run by families, and the colder weather makes growing food more difficult. The slave population in the New England colonies varies widely based on the area. An example of this is, in Rhode Island, the slave population is a staggering 30%, whereas in New York, it's less than 7%.
Moving southward into the middle colonies, much of the population consists of Native American tribes, such as the Anglican and the Iroquois. One notable figure of the Anglican tribes is Pocahontas, who played a key role in the survival of Jamestown and mediating the relationships between Powhatan Indians and the nearby settlers. Unfortunately, we cannot interview Pocahontas as she has just departed for England. Another important group in the middle colonies is imported African slaves. However, the geography in these colonies does not create a large demand for the slaves, unlike in the South. So, the African slave population has stayed relatively small. Slaves in the middle colonies also have more opportunities to gain freedom and rights.
In the South, landlords depend heavily on slaves to work the land on the massive plantations where sugar, tobacco, and cotton are grown. A few decades ago, colonists tried to recruit Indians as slaves, but native populations diminished greatly because of diseases like smallpox and measles. Colonizers then turned to African slaves, and the market has grown since then. According to our reports, slaves in the South live in very poor conditions. They have one cabin for their family with only a few cots to sleep on. They work up to 15 hours a day and receive minimal food. Many have even reported being tortured.
Has there been any resistance to this inhumane treatment?
Some Africans in the South have tried to escape slavery. Reports tell us that many have escaped the northern colonies or nearby native tribes willing to harbor them. Some even seek refuge amongst the Spanish in Florida. But the recently strengthened slave codes dictate that a slave can be retrieved by a master even in a colony where slavery is banned. As a result, confrontations among white settlers and runaways often occur. Now, if we're talking about culture, resistance has developed in the form of Africans continuing to practice their beliefs and traditions. In several communities, these practices have actually resulted in syncretism with European concepts to create new religions, such as Buddhism. Speaking of Native Americans, what are some relationships between European settlers like?
We can get an idea of the situation based on the complex hierarchical caste system. This has been defined by several sources as a socio-racial system that classifies Africans and Native Americans on the bottom, with mulattoes and mestizos slightly above. Although there is said to be a rigid distinction between Native Americans and British settlers, Spanish colonizers have lived more closely together with them, and the French initially developed strong trade relationships with them, producing children of mixed Euro-American and Native American descent.
In the New England colonies, relations with the Native Americans have remained mostly peaceful. Trade is an essential part of both the Native Americans and Europeans' lives. The Native Americans benefit from the Europeans' advanced technology, such as knives, weapons, and fish hooks. The fur trade benefits both Europeans and natives, and generally keeps the peace between the two. Despite this peace, Native Americans are unwilling to give up their land, and this creates major tension between us and the natives.
Tensions between European settlers and Native Americans, however, are not uncommon. The rebellion led by Nathan Bacon, which just ended 3 days ago, is a great example of resistance to slavery. There's tension between the natives and the colonizers, and this led to the inevitable clash between the two cultures. Nathan Bacon was disgruntled and resentful of land inequality between the people of Virginia and pressed Virginia's governor, Sir William Berkeley, to expand north. Governor Berkeley refused, so Bacon actually launched his own volunteer army of backcountry men to attack the natives. Then, when Berkeley declared Bacon as rebels, Bacon redirected his troops to the governor. This is now being called Bacon's Rebellion.
In my opinion, Queen Philip's War is a good example of how Native Americans resisted the infringement of New England colonizers. Their trade relations have crumbled, and the aggressive movements of settlers have driven King Philip to lead an uprising of several tribes that killed multiple frontier towns over the duration of 14 months. Ultimately, however, Metacom has been killed and his followers have either fled or captured into slavery.
Hold on, there's just been some breaking news from our field reporter Alyssa in Santa Fe. Let's check it out.
Thanks, Dory. I'm here at the site of recently burned Kiva, where Pedro de Vargas has just taken back New Mexico from Pueblo inhabitants. 12 years ago, the medicine man, Pope, led a full-scale revolt to restore Native American customs and put an end to colonial abuse, killing hundreds of Spaniards and surprising colonizers. And now, in 1692, New Mexico has been reconquered by the very forces that defeated 12 years ago. Interestingly, sources claim that although Spanish have returned, the alien domination is simply not as strong as before.
What shocking news! Well, folks, we're almost to the end of our segment, so let's check in with Brandon for the final update on traffic.
Hi, Rhea. The millions of slaves crossing the Atlantic to the Americas in the Middle Passage have been kept in horrible conditions. Insufficient ventilation and the accumulation of waste has facilitated the mass spread of disease. According to our sources, there have been several cases of attempted suicide by starvation, and these attempts have been met with torture and force feeding. The 80 to 90% who do survive do so with shackles and iron-bound brands. Analysts say that this has completely transformed the slave trade of West Africans and the Mediterranean.
Thank you for tuning in today, everybody. But sometime today, please take a moment of silence to remember the millions of lives destroyed on the premises of racism and economic greed. I'm Elisa.